scared. I am a friend.
You aren't.
Today, we are going to speak about films that push the boundaries of what is possible. There will be no R movies with a few intense scenes. Films like these don't pull any punches. They are able to deliver on a wide range of content, including gore, explicit nudity, harsh violence, and intense sexual content. Have a wonderful time, everyone. Today, we are going to take a look at the top 10 movies that are currently available on Netflix that are rated R. It's time to get started. Number 10. 365 Days.
Laura.
Take me away from here.
To tell you the truth, I'm not going to tell you that this movie is fantastic since it is not as good as it claims to be. However, I did include it on the list because if you are in the mood for something that is pretty dang sexy, 365 Days is all about making you feel that way. In my opinion, it's a little bit like the Netflix version of the movie 50 Shades of Grey. There is a great deal of sexual content and a great deal of nudity, and that is pretty much the objective of the whole thing. In all honesty, the fact that it is even available on Netflix is a bit of a surprise because it is the very definition of a hard R movie. It has also been followed by 2 sequels. 365 Days is a game that you might love if you are looking for something that challenges you to the fullest extent. Number 9. Rebel Moon, the Director's Cut.
Their wrath will be my vengeance.
Just recently, a director's cut of the science fiction epic that Zack Snyder helmed was released, which includes both Part 1 and Part 2. This movie feels a lot more like it always should have, with the blood, sex, nudity, and prolonged scenes all remaining intact thanks to the director's edit. To tell you the truth, the narrative of this film is still a little bit of a muddle, but it is superior, more bloody, and has received higher ratings than the originals. In the event that you have already witnessed the originals, there is usually not enough of a cause for you to return. If, on the other hand, you were unable to catch them and are considering watching them, you will most certainly want to see these director's cuts that are available in the R rating. Number 8. No Hard Feelings.
I'm just a bit of a romantic.
He's actually really sweet. The best part about getting older is not giving a fuck what people think.
Get away from her!
Stay.
Oh, fuck!
To make it onto the list, this is the first comedy to make it. It tells the story of a woman who undertakes to assist a young man of 19 years old in gaining expertise in the areas of romance and sexuality. No Hard Feelings is a filthy sex comedy, which is a genre that is on the verge of dying in today's world, particularly R-rated comedies specifically. There are a lot of sex jokes that are to be expected, and there is also a significant amount of nudity. There is also a famous instance of Jennifer Lawrence going full frontal in it. I'm sure that a lot of people were upset by the movie, despite the fact that it's a rather entertaining film. If on the other hand, you are not easily offended and long for the days when comedies were ready to take some risks, then you might find that No Hard Feelings is worth your time. Number 7. Polar.
You're not from around here, are you?
No, I'm retired.
What was your job?
We should pay him so we don't have to look over our shoulder for the rest of our lives.
This film tells the story of one of the most lethal assassins in the world who is on the verge of retiring from his field of work. His former employer, on the other hand, views him as a liability and will do everything in his power to get rid of him. When it comes to describing Polar, over the top is one of the greatest adjectives to use because it truly is over the top. As a result of this, it has the potential to scare away a significant number of spectators. This is a really brutal and violent piece of art, yet it is also quite fashionable with vivid colors. Clearly, it is based on a graphic novel, and this is something that is obvious. On the other hand, it epitomizes the definition of a hard R action movie. You could find Polar to be a very enjoyable experience if you are someone who enjoys unabashed, severe violence, sexual content, and gloomy themes. Number 6. Thanksgiving.
Until what happened that night.
This is a horror movie about a small community that is terrified by a masked killer during the Thanksgiving holiday. The film is about their experience. It is true that Thanksgiving is a slasher film, which is another genre that is not entirely extinct, but is not nearly as popular as it once was as well. Eli Roth, who is known for pushing limits in his films, most notably in the Hostel series, is the director of this film. Not only does it have the gore and over-the-top deaths that you would anticipate from a decent slasher, but it is also rather ludicrous, which is a wonderful part of the experience. If you don't mind a little blood and violence, Thanksgiving is a great example of a hard R horror movie and something you should see if you're looking for something fun to watch. Number 5. The Killer.
This is what it takes. I don't give a
The plot of this film is around an assassin who is forced into a suspenseful game of cat and mouse after his job goes awry from the beginning. David Fincher, who has directed a number of classics like Seven and Fight Club, is the director of The Killer. Fincher is not unfamiliar with the rare hard R movie being made by him. This rating is given to The Killer because it removes any romance that may be associated with the assassin profession and instead demonstrates the icy callousness and cruelty that are necessary for the working environment. In addition to being quite explicit, the movie stretches the bounds of what is generally depicted in movies about hitmen. Those who are interested in watching a movie that explores the more sinister aspects of human nature may discover that The Killer offers a great deal of entertainment for them. Number 4. Bone Tomahawk.
When we go into hostile territory, weak and foggy with exhaustion, we won't rescue anybody.
You had no cause. If you want to question my morals, do it later.
From a Western and horror perspective, Bone Tomahawk is a bit of an odd combination. The story follows a sheriff from a small town who is in charge of a posse that is on a mission to rescue a group of settlers who have been kidnapped by a tribe of cave dwellers who are cannibalistic. Bone Tomahawk is a film that is extremely unsettling and cannot be recommended to anyone who are easily frightened, as a result of its realistic depiction of violence. Notably in its horrific and horrifying sequences of gore, it has been given a hard R classification. On the other hand, despite this, it is a very good movie. The film Bone Tomahawk is something that anyone who is interested in a Western that pushes the boundaries of what is possible or a horror film that is intense should think about watching. Number 3. X.
My wife, Pearl, is next door, so I would appreciate a little discretion.
Maxine?
Are you all right?
No.
The plot of X revolves around a group of teenage filmmakers who are attempting to shoot an adult film in a rural area of Texas. However, they become aware that there is something peculiar about the elderly couple from whom they are filming on their property. X is definitely one of the best horror movies that has been released in recent years, and it stands out due to the exploitation film vibe that it has. Not only does it have a significant amount of sexual content and nudity, but it also has some rather violent violence that probably exceeds the boundaries of the R rating. It's fantastic to see a solid horror picture that embraces its R rating rather than watering things down in order to appeal to a wider audience. X, like a lot of other horror films, can be disturbing. However, it's also nice to see movies that embrace their R rating. It is, as I have stated previously, one of the best horror films that has been released in the past couple of years, and it is unquestionably something that horror fans absolutely have to watch. Number 2. Oldboy. The protagonist of this Korean thriller is a man who has been held strangely captive in a private cell for a period of 15 years. After being released from prison, he embarks on a mission to exact revenge and conducts an investigation into the reasons he was incarcerated in the first place. Oldboy is a movie that is crazy in every way, and it is noteworthy for a variety of reasons, including its passionate story, famous battles, and one of the most surprising turns in the history of movies. It is kind of difficult to express how disturbing it is without giving giving anything away, but if you have somehow missed out on witnessing this film that is 20 years old, you should absolutely put it at the very top of your list of things to watch. When it comes to illustrating the harsh effects of revenge, Oldboy does not shy away from doing so. For those who enjoy films that are tough and dark, it is a terrifying experience that should not be missed. Number 1. The Night Comes for Us. During the course of this action movie, a former elite enforcer makes the decision to abandon his criminal past in order to prevent a little girl from being taken by his gang. The Night Comes for Us features some incredible combat choreography, with each fight scene increasing in both intensity and ingenuity as the film progresses progressively. The film is notorious for its unrelenting graphic brutality, violent battle scenes, and a level of gore that is rarely seen in action films. However, it is not for those who are easily offended. There is no doubt that the onslaught of blood-soaked action sequences is thrilling, and it pushes the boundaries of what an action movie can offer. Because of its unrepentant approach to action and its unrelenting cruelty, The Night Comes for Us has unquestionably rightfully earned its place on this list.